everyone, welcome to the City of Newark's Caribbean Commission segment, where we're going to be using this platform to inform, to engage, to entertain, to have discussions on topics that are relevant to you and the Caribbean community. My name is Esther Lors, and I'm a member of the Commission. I'm the PR person. I've been the former chairperson. In my professional life, I'm a 20-year educator here in the City of Newark and an adjunct professor at NJIT. Today in studio with me is Commissioner Bernard Rawlins, and I'll have him explain, give you a little bit about him shortly, as well as our expert guest, Ms. Rachel Addison. Before they introduce themselves, I just want to tell you a little bit about the Caribbean Commission. So the Caribbean Commission was formed in 2015 by Mayor Ras J. Baraka and then Council President Mildred Crump to be a liaison to the Caribbean community, to inform, to engage, and we're doing just that right now. So there are about 13 members from various Caribbean islands that are currently a part of the Commission. We have individuals from Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Honduras, Jamaica. I'm from Jamaica. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So if I missed anyone, I do apologize, but we are a growing body. We're looking for people, and today we want to bring you some information about a very important social service that exists in our community that we want you to take advantage of. So at this time, I am going to ask Commissioner Rawlins to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll ask Ms. Addison to introduce herself.
So before I go into telling you a little bit about myself, we also have commissioners from Belize, commissioners from St. Vincent, commissioners from Dominican Republic. I migrated from Guyana, South America, and I've been living here in the city of Newark. I was educated here, training as an engineer and that of an educator. Worked in the city of Newark. And for the time being here, as an immigrant, I understand some of the problems immigrants face, and there's where I chose to become a member of the Caribbean Commission, and I was once the chair of the commission.
Awesome. And I must add that, yes, throughout, as we bring you these series, we will have other commissioners join us so you can get to know who they are as well. And at this time, I would like to introduce our special guest. So when I joined the commission in 2015, I always heard about this individual from our former deputy mayor, Deputy Uga, and he spoke highly of her. And I never got the chance to really talk to you to really find out about the process and what you do. And so today, as we're still under the Office of International Relations and Diaspora Affairs, Deputy Mayor Lygia De Freitas was the one who recommended that I reach out, the commission reach out to you as one of our first guests. And so, Miss Rachel, can you tell us who you are? Just tell me a little bit about who you are.
Okay. First and foremost, thank you all for having me here on this panel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So, my name is Rachel Addison. I am the program administrator for the Newark Municipal ID card, which was initiated by Mayor Baraka and council members, specifically Council President Madam Crump. And as an individual, I will consider myself as a public servant. And because of my love and motivation for helping others, this is why this is where this whole idea came from. And I love to help other people. I'm passionate about helping, well determined. I'm passionate about helping others. It is an honor to actually be the program director for this for Newark ID card, which changes a lot of people's lives within the city of Newark.
Awesome. So as the program director, I know there must be some core values. So a lot of times we interact with others, we network, but we don't really truly know people. So I just want for you to just tell the audience, who is Rachel Addison? Like, what are some things that drive you, that make you either innovative or persistent to create and lead such an important project?
Okay. What I would start with is that I am extremely understanding as far as people that are around me. I'm basically an observer. I like to observe when I'm around people to see what the needs are. What does people want? What are their needs as far as what can actually change their life? What can actually transform their lives for the betterment? And like I mentioned before, I'm well determined to help others. And as a West Indian, I strive to help people, to change people's lives in a better way, specifically in the city of Newark.
Awesome. So when we hear about those qualities, I can then understand why the municipal ID card program has been the success that it is. And so I'm going to ask you to tell us, what is the municipal ID card, and how can residents benefit from it?
The municipal ID card is a newly identification card that was implemented within the city of Newark by the administrator, our leader, Mayor Raz J. Baraka. It's basically, it was implemented to give access to city, to Newark's residents, to give access to everyone, including documented or undocumented immigrants. And basically, with that ID card, everyone, including documented and undocumented, have access to basic services and programs within the city, and city agencies, buildings like City Hall buildings, like Newark Works, or any other anchored building, anchored businesses that that are here in the city of Newark that a lot of our residents, particularly documented, undocumented, did not have access to. Now they have access to, like schools, hospitals. They have access to that.
So this ID card, is it something you can use anywhere? Is it what exactly is on it? Like if you were to get a card, what does it look like, and where can you use it?
Okay, so within the city of Newark, it can be used anywhere. Remember, this card was actually implemented for the city of Newark residents. And we're located right on University Avenue, 394 University. And in order to get this card, you have to be in Newark. You have to live in Newark. You have to be a Newark resident. And there are two components that that can help you get this card. There's the number one factor, you have to live in Newark, and the second factor, you have to show proof of residence. I will speak on behalf of the undocumented immigrants. We may not have Social Security card, but we have a passport. So we use that as a major component for that community as proof of identification.
Wow, it's huge. This social program and the component which is Newark ID, we heard about Newark Force. Does it really takes on that format? You got an ID, Newark Force, you've been recognized as somebody who live in Newark?
I would think that the Newark Force ID is basically
documented, undocumented.
Undocumented, yeah.
Undocumented.
Yes.
So when I say Newark Force, I'm thinking in terms of employment and all that.
I know where you're going with that. I know where you're going with that, Mr. I know exactly what avenue you're about to launch on. Okay, so I would say there's a huge difference with the Newark ID and the Workforce ID, because the Workforce ID, I think, is simply made for constituents that actually walk into that building that need assistance with employment or any other services. But the Newark ID is basically a local government ID. We have city ordinances. This was something that was implemented not because of that particular building that we offer services, but it was actually implemented as a legal local government ID, where you can have access to other buildings. Sometimes with the Newark With the other ID that you're talking about, is basically for within that building or within that realm. For people that's looking for employment, particularly. I know they may have other services, but I know they're specifically specialized in helping constituents, Newark residents, with employment. But the Newark ID is where basically it's a legal ID. You can actually get a bank card with it. You can actually get health services, get different assistance within the city, and also for let's just go back for, let's say, formerly incarcerated. You know how sometimes when they're released to come home, for those that lives in Newark, it's very difficult for them to just walk right to a motor vehicle to get an ID. But with the Newark ID, when they come to us, we can basically prepare them. Other places may ask for their release sheet, face sheet. Face sheet basically have everything about them. When did they get locked up? Why did they get locked up? So with the Newark ID, they don't have to display all that information about them in order to get services.
How does the police department receive? How does the police officers receive the ID? And I know that they're operating under the local administration, but how do they receive this local government ID?
They receive it well because remember during the implementation, I think you was around too, Mr. Rahman.
Yes, I was.
So during the implementation of the program, remember we also involved them. They were included from ground up as we were implementing this ID. So they know about the ID. We have educated. They have been around the table. They have been a part of the panel regarding all the information, all the intricate detail about the Newark IDs, and they have received it well. Before the ID, let's say if an immigrant, undocumented immigrant encountered a police officer, and they were asked for the IDs and they didn't have it. At the time, they were carrying everything, every piece of documents that they have, they will carry it. And that automatically was a red flag for the officer. Okay, this person's undocumented. They don't have any IDs. And unfortunately, the international passports sometimes is not recognized as a legal ID, right? So now the immigrants have Newark ID as an access, and the police have received it well. Before they may have, even throughout the state, they may have to call immigration and retain that person because lack of identification. But now with the ID, the police understand because they know all the intricate details behind the program, so they have accepted that once the person shows them that is suffice. Because now you are legal Newark resident. You are Newarker, just like we are.
Right.
I would give you a 100%. You know, why I'm saying this because, excuse me, someone walking around with his or her passport, you know, it really, you know, it's really problematic for the persons because you work.
Recommended.
It's not recommended, you know, because the municipal, the local government ID, you know, takes away all of the above, so that individual can walk comfortable with the I present. And I don't think people should be afraid to go and get a municipal ID if you're undocumented. You know, I think, you know, I'm Guyanese, and, you know, I don't know about the population of Guyanese who are undocumented, but for the entire Caribbean community, I think it's a very useful and more so a worthwhile idea. Getting a municipal ID, it's valid in the city of Newark.
Yeah. And it's not just for documented or undocumented community only. Now what I have discovered throughout the years, because remember the program was launched in 2015. So in 2015,
I remember when
the narrative was around the program was that, oh, the mayor has issued identification card for undocumented immigrants, and before that was the narrative.
Yes, I remember.
But now, surprisingly, it's not just for undocumented. I mean, everyone is using this ID. Everyone, like I said earlier, it's a huge help for formerly incarcerated senior citizens that no longer drive. They don't need a driver's license anymore, but they need an ID in order to cash their checks, because they can cash their checks with it. They can open bank account, get health services. there's so many different organizations that are using, and we work very closely with the LGBTQ community as well. So now it's not labeled as IDs for undocumented. Actually, it's the entire city that's using it.
When you think about, I'm just trying to like capture, everything that's been said, right? So far, we've stated that this program was created with all stakeholders involved, right? So everyone within the city understands its purpose, and so it's accepted, within our police departments. I think in our conversation before, we talked about the homeless and the hospitals. Maybe we can go into that.
Faith-based and community-based.
Yes.
Faith-based, right? So our senior citizens. And so we encourage everyone in the city of Newark with the need to, right? If you have a need for an ID, to definitely consider getting one. And what are some other benefits that this program offers to residents?
Okay, before I go into the various benefits that we talked about, or that I will be explaining to you, I want to explain a little bit more about the homelessness, because you mentioned that how the ID has actually assisted within that community, the homeless community. Okay, I remember this started in 2018, and the hospitals, like I would say Rutgers Medical University and Beth Israel. So they were facing this problem with the homeless population, even if it's summer or winter. Summertime, a lot of the homeless people didn't want to be out in the heat. So what they will do, they will use those medical facilities as a revolving door to go in and stay there. So it became a major problem with the hospital in the state. And what I'm saying, this is a fact, right? This is a fact. I'm not making this up. So by law, the hospitals cannot release someone, especially a homeless person, let's stay around that. A homeless person, if you don't know exactly where they're going. And you cannot release them, because what they'll do, they'll go in on the street and they'll come right back. So one of the head nurse from the social worker department reached out to us and said, how can we help? And I explained to her, I said, well, we do work closely with the homeless, with the shelters. So now what I can do is link you with the shelters. Of course, she explained the problem to me, and immediately I thought about it. I said, okay, I can link you with the shelters and see how you can have a place for those people, for the homeless, to place them. And we worked that out. I was the middle person.
Municipal ID.
Municipal ID. So now, and I even went further to help them get the ID for their patients. And sometimes the patients are unbound. They can't come to an ID. So I have this service, me and my assistant here, Yasmin, and Jay, my other assistant, and we will actually go to the hospital. We will take the equipment, our cameras, and have a security accompany us, of course. And we'll bring the application for the patient, complete the application, take their picture, go back to the office with it, print the ID out, and then bring it back to the social worker's office. So that way now, not only they have an identification card, and they also have a place to go to. So the hospital is not releasing them back on the street.
So that's door-to-door service right there.
Yes.
So you're not only stationary, you're mobile too.
Yes.
When it's emergency mobile services is
anything to basically solve the issues, the challenges within the city.
Stakeholders, faith-based. What is the working relationship between the municipal ID, the local ID administration, and faith-based communities? Because why I'm asking this question, faith-based communities, they have a lot of going on in in the community, in the North community as a whole, and they're very fragmented. You have Catholic, you have Jews, you have you have the different Caribbean churches. So these faith-based communities that are in North, how connected are they to the municipal ID program?
Oh, very connected.
Okay,
very
well
connected.
then I'm
very
happy to hear
connected. With the assistance of Miss Roundtree, which now Councilwoman Roundtree.
Oh yes, Councilwoman at Large Roundtree.
Councilwoman at Large.
Congratulations.
So with her efforts, working with connecting the Newark ID with the faith-based. Remember that the faith-based is basically it's a haven for a lot of immigrants, right? So if they come in and they become members, so now they need assistance. They need to have access to city services and programs within the city. So the leader will reach out to our office and say, okay, I have such and such group. I have this amount of people. Can you come in and do a presentation on this ID? And that's what we do.
Okay.
We will go and present the ID, explain to them what they need, every intricate detail about the program, how much it is, where we are, what you need, and we'll also bring them, at the time, we will bring the materials with us as far as brochures and the point system, application. We have all that with us for our presentation. So we present the program. They get a better understanding because now they have me, so they're asking me questions one-on-one. Right. And they have a better understanding. I educate them. I try to educate them as best as I can on the mayor's behalf, and that's how we network with them.
So you have so you do have an education program within local government administration. You have an education program going on for the faith-based and community-based.
Whoever reach out to us, any community, any organization.
So
you have a group of people, you would like to help them get IDs if they don't have any, we'll go there. We'll be there. You call us.
Is there a number?
We'll be there.
Is there a number? Is there a number? Is there a number?
One of my follow-up questions was, can you do this type of outreach, which we now know that you do. Now, is there a cost associated with it?
With the outreach?
No, not for the outreach. For the ID card. Is there a cost associated with the ID card? And for individuals in the community that are interested in bringing this, for you to come out and speak to their constituents, their members, what's the process to get that done?
Well, like I said, very simple. As a leader of the organization or the facility where you're spearheading, you just reach out to us. First, what I always recommend is that before we come out, you make sure that you have the group. You have the group of people that are interested, because we're not going to come out for one or two. Right. Okay, so you gather your group and make sure they know what this is about, who's coming to talk to them, and the necessity of what we'll be presenting to them. You just reach out to us, and then we bring ourselves, we bring all the equipment to service the community. That's what we do. That's what we offer. There's not actually a process that is set in place in stones, because remember, each community sometimes are different. And I'm going to bring this up again, especially with the LGBTQ. So there's a different process for them. We don't use the same process as we would do for homeless, and especially with domestic violence victims. There's a different process. So there's not a particularly process, one process that's in place.
I'm really happy that you mentioned domestic violence individual, because there are men and women who are in relationships that are very abusive relationships, and these relationships, I think, based upon the immigration status, they may have probably gotten married to an individual, and what has happened is that individual has been thrown to the wolves, and the marriage gone astray, and so happened that individual is afraid now to be out in the streets or to go any place.
To have the identity revealed.
Right, because of what has happened to him or her. And that domestic violence, I think, is one of the things that we should be raising more, because it's happening. I've lived in Newark for that period of time. And the Newark ID
is really in the center of that, helping, assisting, working very closely with the police on that as well.
Can you tell us how the ID card has helped in situations like that?
Well, I can tell you a little bit, but not too much, because it is a very classified. I would say
so
it's classified information, really.
Yes.
If
When
there's
it comes to
somebody out
domestic
there,
violence individuals,
you know, that's probably going through a situation, you know, where they might need, you know, they need to leave, they need to, you know, might be establish a new identity or something. You know, how can the ID card be of value?
Well, basically, it is valuable to an individual within that are going through that situation, and sometimes, like Mr. Rollins said, it's really changing the identity of that person. Their address, their information, that cannot be leaked to any other third party, because the officer's job is to protect that individual, and that individual cannot be a target or easy access.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, like I said, they may have to be, you know, a name change or photo or ID without. Sometimes we don't even have that information in our database. We actually, it's just the police and the individuals in that facility.
How would you address an individual? I know there are shelters in the city that addresses battered women. I don't know about battered men, but if there is, because of the individual being undocumented, and he or she is battered, does the local administration ID office provide them with that information? Look, there is a center here that we can. Or that ID is responsible, because if they're put up in a place, let us say they're in a battered woman, a shelter, you know, as you said, they can go to the shelter. But suppose the person is battered, they're not in hospital, but they're battered, afraid to go to the hospital. How does the local administration help with the person, helping that person getting into some safe haven where he or she can?
Well, as far as that. My job is to really focus on how the municipal ID can assist that person.
Right.
Because every department has a process to help different categories of individuals. I can't say, I don't know per se how does the administration really handle that, but I know that when we're being called, when the Newark ID called, we are there in the center to assist them.
So everyone, I can't believe we're like almost at the end of the time. We had a very informative conversation about one of the social services that the city of Newark has to offer, the Municipal ID card program. It is available for you. Tell us again your address and how people can contact you.
Okay, so we're located right on University, 394 University Avenue, and we're in the back, closer to Vitals. We're right next to Vitals. If you go, let's say if you're using the William Street entrance, we're right there.
So at this time, we are going to close up today's session. I want to thank you, Ms. Rachel Addison from the Municipal ID card program here in the city of Newark, for joining us, for informing us how we can gain a municipal ID to help with our basic services. And again, it's available for anyone that's a resident of Newark. Thank you, Commissioner Rollins, member of the Caribbean Commission. My co-host for today, and as in the beginning, as we continue these sessions, we will invite additional commissioners to be a part of this process. Again, my name is Esther Lures. Thank you for joining. Where next time we will talk about STEM, EdTech, and computer science education, which is happening in the month of December. So thank you to Newark TV for providing this space, the City of Newark, the Mayor's Office, the Office of International Relations and Diaspora Affairs, as well as all the commissioners that are a part of the Caribbean Commission. Thank you very much.